नमस्ते विद्या, खुश रहिए। नमस्ते विद्या, खुश रहिए। I JVWU Muskan Kumari from the Department of Science and Technology, and I'm working here as assistant professor in JVWU Women's University, and and the Faculty of Education and Methodology. So today's your session is how companies are using the cloud computing technology and what are the services they are basically accessing to make their company more effective. So this is the session and I'm discussing these topics today. So for making these topics easy to understand to you, I just want to share one word file in which I have described these all things. So just wait 1 minute. I'm just sharing that file. Here, here is that file. So this is the cloud computing, that how companies are using the cloud computing techniques and what techniques they are basically using for their company to make their company more effective. So cloud computing, that extremely accessible data. Many business have adopted the cloud computing in their operations in the past few years, isn't it? Cloud computings are only one computing which is based on the pay as you go on basis. Sometimes it called refers to a system of using the computer service over the internet, isn't it? Companies spend large amount of money developing and installing the softwares to improve their operations, isn't it? To improve their qualities and the operations. So cloud computing enables your business to access the softwares on the internet as a service, isn't it? So cloud computing is a safe way of storing and sharing your data. Now, companies spend large amount of money to developing and storing, installing the softwares to improve their operations. Like the cloud computing is also the safe way of storing and sharing the information. So this services is basically done by the cloud. So they are using these services to make them more efficient and safe. Now, your staff can access the service at any time and from the locations and to complete their tasks in many locations. And the cloud computing service fall into the three major categories. First is the AaaS services, PaaS services, and the SaaS services, isn't it? So you can choose any of these services, which is depending on the needs of the cloud customers or your business. If you are unsure about moving from the traditional way of computing, here are some top reasons why you should move from your business to the cloud computing, isn't it? So the first reason is what? Reduced cost, isn't it? What is the factor of reduced cost? How this factor affects the cloud computing nowadays? So, establishing and running a data center is expensive, isn't it? In the previous times, it is very expensive to stable and running a data center. So you need to purchase the right equipments and hire technicians to install and manage the all the data centers in very frequently way. So when you shift to cloud computing, nowadays, you will only pay for the service program. Whatever the services you have used, you have only paid regarding that services some amount of charges. Okay, some amount of charge. When you shift to the cloud computing, you only have to pay services per per. More interested in how the cloud are reduced cost in your business. The more interesting point is this one, that how cloud reduce your cost in your business. So there are some important points. That one, cloud service providers charges the cloud computing services based on the features. That what are the features you are accessing of the cloud services, isn't it? And the storage and the number of the users, the times and the memory space, among other factors. Hence, you can choose a package that suit your budgets and also save the costs. Next one is the flexibility. What is the flexibility? What do you mean by the flexibility? What is the importance of flexibility in the cloud computing? Isn't it? So, flexibility. One of the most major benefits of cloud computing is mobility. Mobility, the service gives you and your employee the flexibility to work from any locations, and this is done only in case when you are using the cloud services. Employee can complete their task at home or from the field. Like suppose the one example I just want to give you. That suppose you are using the Google Sheet, isn't it? So if you are using the Google Sheet Excel file, so if you are using the normal Excel file, then you suppose multiple people have to work on the same Excel file, on which is on your system. So they all must have at that time present at your locations, isn't it? So that time, what you will see that much more space is occupied by the more persons for the same task. Clear? But when you see that cloud Google Sheet, isn't it? Google Sheet, that is also known as the cloud. So then Google Sheet is working so many more. All the five peoples can work in their at different locations with the same Google Sheet, isn't it? So this is the example of the flexibility. Okay, so you reduce the number of employee can complete their task at home from the field, and you can also reduce the number of workstations in your office and allow some employee to work from home to save cost further. Then there is no need to invest that much more cost during the to come to reach to the destinations for working. Cloud computing enables you to monitor the operations in your business effectively, and you just need a fast internet connection to get real-time update of all operations. Okay, so now scalability. What is the scalability? The traditional way of planning for unexpected growth is to purchase and keep the additional in the server or the storage or the license. It makes years before you actually use the reserve resources. Previously, in the various previously years, you are seeing that some customers or they are preserving the information and preserving the data into the additional storage. They are have additional storage where they are preserve their data, isn't it? So you actually use the reserve resource before you reserve the resource. Scaling cloud computing services is very easy. So you can get additional storage spaces or features whenever you need them. Your providers will simply upgrade and your packages within the minutes as long as you need the additional features or the cost. Okay, so this is the scalability point. No need for a backup plan. Here you haven't take the tensions regarding to that what you should have much more servers or the storage spaces for backing these all the contents or the informations for as per your need. So this all is your all data is basically maintained by the clouds, and so accessing and maintaining of all the cloud and backup and recovery of data is basically done by your cloud service providers. Okay, so there is no need to worry about regarding the backing and recovery of your data plan. So business do not require any such means when storing data where store data on the cloud. The data will always be available as long as users have internet connections because they have purchased that infrastructures as yearly basis or short-term or long-term basis. So for the accessing that data from that clouds, they only require one thing, that is the internet. Okay, internet connection. Some business use cloud computing services as backup and plan for disaster recovery. And now the data security. What is the data security? Sometimes storing data on the cloud is safer than the storing it onto the physical server. This is obvious that the storing some data into the physical server is very complicated rather than storing that data into the clouds, isn't it? And data centers. A break of security at your premise can lead to compromised data security if laptops or the computers are stolen. Suppose you have stored your informations and data into your on systems or the laptops, and your laptop is stolen by some thief. Then they can might be possible that they can crack your password and steal your confidential data, isn't it? So to avoid these things, you can use the cloud service to store your data and information. You can do it in so you have data on the cloud. You can delete any confidential information remotely or move it to the different accounts. Suppose if you think any problems into the clouds, then you make many more accounts into the cloud services. And if you have any problems in one account, then you can remove your data from that accounts and move that data into the another accounts of the cloud. Okay, so reaching the security measures on cloud platform is difficult, and hence you ensure that the data security. Now, a wide range of options and improved collaboration. These 2 points are more, which I have discussed. So we have already mentioned the main groups of the cloud services, that AAS, PaaS, and SaaS. Um, as persons as each of these groups has many subcategories that vary across providers. For instances, if you are looking for softwares, you will have hundreds of options from other different providers, and you can use instances. If you are looking for the softwares, you will use the hundreds of the options from the different service providers. So you can choose that options which is very cheapest to you, and looking at very efficient services for you in the cost effective and improve the collaboration. Business owner and always looking for ways to boost the individual's and team performance. Cloud computing is among the most effective ways of improving the team performance. The staff member can easily share data and collaborate to complete projects even from the different locations. Field worker can easily share real-time data and update with those in the office. So, addition, computer cloud computing makes the routine and repetitive tasks in the data, such as the re-entry, and we can improve the level of efficiency, increase the productivity of the cloud services, and also save the cost of the cloud services. So, these are the points which is considered regarding the cloud services for the companies, that how companies are using the cloud computing technology. These are based on these multiple points which I have already discussed. Reduced cost, flexibility, scalability, no need for backup plan, data security, wide range of options, and improved collaborations. It also improves collaboration with cloud computing with the companies. So this is the completed topic for session of this. So in the next session, I will discuss the much more topics which is related with the cloud computing. So if you have any comments regarding these topics, then please comment in the comment section. Bye. Okay. Thank you. And For the more references, you can check out the various standard books which is related to the cloud computing. The one textbook is known as the Introduction to the Cloud Computing, and many more online sites like the Geeks for Geeks, Tutorial Points, and Java Points, and many more sites are available like the cloud computing topics. Okay, thank you.